We suffer more often in imagination than in reality.
It starts over there, right? Yeah.
How often have we disappointed ourselves by succumbing to our fears rather than taking actions that could create a better life?
That's badass, though.
Trust nobody. Trust nobody. My closest friends did me in. My closest friends, my homies, people who I done took care of their whole family. Fear is stronger than love. Remember that. Fear is stronger than love.
These emotional responses generally involve overlearned responses on the basis of previous, often traumatic, experiences.
I ain't scared of you, mother. I'm gonna tell you something straight off the motherfucking press. I ain't coming for no foolishness. In New York, goddamn y'all motherfucking women look good. Y'all like a bacon and egg sandwich look good.
That's no effects either. It's dry.
Now what is that thing which we call fear?
Fear is not real.
It's a nice kick out of there.
Only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination.
Much of my anxiety is about what will happen to me going forward. Fear that I will lose what I already have or that I won't get what I want.
Fear can be described as false evidence appearing real. We can live in these states of fear for very long periods of time without questioning it. And the sad part about staying in these states for these prolonged periods of time is that we experience these events that we are afraid of as if they are actually happening, which they aren't.
Mainatik.
Sak. Down. Kak sak. Le diop saya diop le. Tao bila. Sakilo. Belko hanel. Lelela kuyok tikusta. Lelela chokan. Kuskunten.
We cannot be governed by fear, but we should respect fear as a type of awareness, a type of wisdom. There is knowledge in fear.
There's this little fear of, wow, I'm really missing out. My best friend just got engaged and I'm not over there. My other best friend is in London and having a good time, and everybody's doing this and that, and oh, people are getting engaged, and you know, I just started a relationship. And
now, fear is not all bad. I would describe it as God's blessing, his psychic intuition, a wisdom of sorts. But fear is also a cursed seed of doubt, stagnation, and entropy. And that seed is sown by the devil himself.
It is only when there is no attention, then fear comes into being. You understand? When there is complete attention, which is complete, total energy, then there is no fear, is there? It's only the inattentive person that is afraid.
Training yourself to separate what you can control from what you cannot control, and then doing exercises to focus exclusively on the former. This decreases emotional reactivity, which can be a superpower.
以外のことも思っちゃダメ。大丈夫かな？ああ、不安になってくるでしょ。ならば、一生懸命、一つのところに命をかける。そうだ。今ここを生きていけば、みんな生き生きするぞ。
Conversely, let's say you're a quarterback, you miss a pass, you get furious with yourself, that could cost you a game. If you're a CEO and you fly off the handle at a very valued employee because of a minor infraction, that could cost you, the employee. If you're a college student who, say, is in a downward spiral and you feel helpless and hopeless, unabated, that could cost you your life. So the stakes are very, very high.
Reasoning with our emotions is often resorted to when we are cognizant of the fact that our maladaptive emotions are not in line with the reality of our situation. At such moments, it can seem reasonable to try and argue with our emotions in the hope that our cognitive mind can exert control over them and free us to move forward unimpeded by their presence. But emotions are rarely controllable by sheer acts of will, nor amenable to the power of thought alone. In fact, an intense emotion is more likely to override our ability to think clearly than a clear thought is to override an intense emotion.
There's this selfish need for control that we all have. Fits of fear take us away from stable ground and we start to lose control.
Stop trying to control everything and just let go.
Are there a class of decisions where approaching the decision systematically will lead to a worse outcome?
There are situations where time is of the essence, where overthinking it can be a serious problem. You want to avoid the kind of information overload of thinking too much about it.
Something on my mind.
Our physical bodies feed back these mental waves to our nervous system, making us, funny enough, nervous. That feeling that we get can be felt in our core. It is a dreadful rhythm and our hearts begin to feel offbeat. This can start to happen when our senses start to realize that we do not have full control over this reality that we are in.
Wouldn't I have been here, baby, Lord, if it hadn't have been for you.
The journey to spiritual enlightenment is often described as a path rather than a destination, involving continuous growth, learning, and shedding of illusions. It challenges us to confront our deepest fears, desires, and attachments, leading to a transformation of consciousness.
When I was a child, things like Men in Black, of all things, used to scare me. These days I find that thought funny, obviously, but these days it's things like purpose, existence, and maybe not living up to my potential that scare me the most. The spiral gets so intense that some days I start becoming afraid of being afraid. I do this because I understand that that frequency of fear is one of the most destructive things in the lives and purpose of people. So I try my best to stay away from it, usually moving my mind through fear by thinking the opposite thoughts of the thing I'm afraid of. If the thought is fear, I think courage, and usually that gets me through it.
I should have helped him, but I was afraid.
Hephaestus did what every father should do. Protect his child.
No! It's all my fault. I failed him because of fear. Fear is its own kind of darkness. In that darkness, I heard what the gods said about me. They called me a monster.
Hope. It is the only thing stronger than fear. A little hope is effective. A lot of hope is dangerous. A spark is fine, as long as it's contained. So, contain it.
As the fear in the gods rose, mine was replaced by hope.
Hope is for the weak, Pandora.
Hope is what makes us strong. It is why we are here. It is what we fight with when all else is lost.
How has fear affected your life? Have you found that there's better things or worse things on the other side of fear? Are things actually better off when you act with courage, or is it just marketing and cap? Leave a comment about it.
When you have butterflies and you're feeling anxious and you have anxiety or nervous, that's when you're most powerful, I believe. A lot of people, instead of homing this power and using it, they allow it to just consume them.
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you.
If you're still watching the video, it means you enjoy it to a certain degree. Please leave a like. I don't think fear is necessarily a bad thing, and it's one of those things that we can't remove from ourselves as humans. It's going to be there forever. However, to allow the fear to control you, I think, is the big problem. The sense of fear is like a guideline to help us. Sometimes the fear is a good thing. It is your instincts telling you not to make a stupid decision, like jumping off a building. I'll ask again, how do you feel about fear? This is Loy signing off. Peace.